Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, and I'm back after a 2 month vacation. I had a 2 month layoff to re-get my gather my thoughts and preparing for the Breeders' Cup Classic. I know that's very early, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going for the first half, the first 6 months of review for older horses going a distance. And where do I could start out? I could start out with the Pegasus World Cup won by White Barrio. It was an impressive race. He has the credentials to go into the Breeders' Cup Classic, knowing that he won the Breeders' Cup Classic in 2023 and he likes Southern California. He does his best running at Gulfstream Park, but he will be in fine form coming into the fall. I know it's way early and anything can happen, but it looks like it's potentially going to be a very good Breeders' Cup Classic. Another horse that's going to be running would also be Fierceness. Fierceness at he could get a mile and a quarter. He might be better at a mile and 1.5, but Mike Rapoli will have this horse ready. Came in second last year behind Sierra Leone. He got forced into a big time speed when Dermot Sotogaki got off the bed and ran very fast. And it looks like he's a very competitive horse. He could go the mile and 1/4, and that's going to set up really well. Another Mike Rapoli trained horse that possibly could run in the Breeders' Cup Classic would be Mindframe. He looked fantastic at the 7/8 Churchill Downs handicap on the undercard for the Kentucky Derby, and what a race. He came out of nowhere to beat that field, and that was a very promising field. So Mike Rapoli right now and his stable has two good horses, and Top Petcher has to be very happy how both of these horses have been running. Also, a horse that we have to mention that had a good solid first half of the year would be Hit Show. He surprised he upset the apple cart into the World Cup. I didn't see it coming. I liked other horses in that race, but what a shocker! And will he be primed for the Breeders' Cup race? He might. Hopefully, he will show up after he just won the World Cup at $12 million. I'm seeing great horses coming out of great races, and you have Forever Run, the Saudi Cup winner. Also, mixed throw him in the mix. Pardon the pun. He was second in the Dubai Cup behind Hit Show. Other horses to talk about would be the 3-year-olds now. The 3-year-old campaign, Sovereignty proved he is the best 3-year-old at this time. And he cannot be ruled out for the Breeders' Cup Classic. The distance is not going to be an issue. The farther this horse, or the longer the race goes, the farther this horse will run and run well. Also, Journalism will be a participant in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I don't see why he would duck that big race. And as a top 3-year-olds, these are the number one top two 3-year-olds, and that'd be Sovereignty and Journalism. Maybe by Aza, he kind of sputtered a little bit in the Belmont Stakes, came in third, and also came in third in the Kentucky Derby. I wouldn't necessarily throw him out. He's a California horse, California-based, but John Sheriff's, and John Sheriff's a good trainer, and he might have this horse ready for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Do I have any other ones? That's about a mouthful. I got about 7 to 8 horses. I put in Forever Young in that race. Also, Sierra Leone should be back, ready to run. He came in third his first race out of a comeback. He ran third. It was just a tightener. Will he get that kind of fast fractions in this year's Breeders' Cup? I doubt it. I don't think they're going to go that fast, but he'll get a decent speed to run at with horses like Fierceness and Mindframe. But you got to remember that from the same stable, so I don't think they're going to duel themselves into the ground. And right now, you're sitting with about 6 or 7 good horses in the higher the 3-year-old and the older horses to run in the Breeders' Cup. And if I had to pick up one, I don't know if I could pick just one horse in the Breeders' Cup class right now, ladies and gentlemen, because the race looks that good. Money wise, if I had to take, I like Sovereignty. You'll probably get about 6 to 1 coming into the Breeders' Cup Classic, and if all these horses run, he might even go up not because he's not talented. It just this Breeders' Cup Classic could be one of the best of all times. I'm seriously speaking of all times. If every horse runs for the Breeders' Cup Classic, other horse that might audible would be at the mile. Mindframe might audible to go to the mile race and might fit in well, better than the mile and 1/4. He just looks like he could go either from 7/8 of a mile to mile and 1/4. Like last year, Mindframe ran second behind Dornock and proves that distance should be a problem, and he likes the shorter distance. So right now, he could play Fierceness if I was to bet upon fierceness in the Breeders' Cup Classic, use a mind frame in the Breeders' Cup Mile, but he would have to run against horses like Raging Torrent, and boy, has he been a Raging Torrent. After he capped off the end of the year at San Diego on 26 won the Malibu Stakes very convincingly, and then only he went to Dubai and won the Classic over there, Spring Classic, and then beats White on Barrio and also Fierceness in the Met Mile. This horse has impeccable form, and I'm pretty sure they're going to put him on the shelf. They're probably going to gear him up for the Pat O'Brien Stakes like they did back in July and start working him now. So I'm thinking he's going to be off the layoff for at least a month, maybe a month and a half. I don't see the Bing Crosby as a possible start, but the Pat O'Brien that he won last year looks like the possible start going into the Classic. Into the Breeders' Cup Mile, because he's a tweener horse. He's not very good at 6, but between 7 and 8 furlongs, he's fantastic. And does he have to run against if those two horses will hook up in the Breeders' Cup Mile? What a race between Mindframe and Raging Torrent, other horses that could possibly run the mile and get away from the Breeders' Cup Sprint would probably be Skelly. Other horses in there, I'm not sure, but those two horses are very fantastic considering the first half of the year they had. And I'm speaking of Mindframe and Raging Torrent. It doesn't get better than that. Other horses that you have to watch out for, Breeders' Cup Sprint on the dirt. Right now, early favorite, and beyond early favorite would be Patch Adams. After winning the Woody Stevens, he's a 3-year-old, but maybe the fastest 3-year-old in the country right now. He beat a very good field in that race, and he disposed of many good horses there. So 6/8 of a mile would be right up his alley. They ran Woody Stevens at 7/8. He'll shorten up, but he has just a burn and turn speed that handle all kinds of speed. And that's what I have for you right now. On the turf races, I don't have a lot of information, ladies and gentlemen, because like I said, I'm just getting my feet wet again after having like a 2-month off. Our last video was the Kentucky Derby race right before I went to Vegas. I'm back and just trying to figure out which European, because the Europeans will probably dominate at least 80% of the win placing show. And just the Americans, unfortunately, don't have a top flight horse right now. Farbridge is one of the top horses in the United States. He's very competitive. But I think to the European horse, he's only G2 level comparing to the G1 horses at the turf in Europe right now. A horse that I could watch out for that I like that ran at Royal Ascot would be Andre Matisse. He ran second in the St. James Place. And I like him because he bumped it with one of the horses down with about less than a quarter of a mile, kind of and impeded his stride. But he couldn't catch the winner, not gaining ground. But I think at 4-1, for whoever he runs in the Breeders' Cup Mile or the turf mile and 1/2, you got to beware of Andre Matisse and his connections. Everything else, I'll have more notes coming into the year. I know I'm starting fresh and early, but I had to after being 2 months just kind of not really focusing on racing. I posted two comments on X. I have an X account. I had River Thames in the Preakness. He did not run, and then I had Rodriguez, who did take the front end and balance that I like because of the speed. He had a little pressure, but I'm not making excuses. Sovereignty journalism are the top 2 horses in there. As I posted in my X comment, I wasn't going to take favorites. I liked a little bit of a price, and just proves one thing that as early in the year that I didn't think that that Rodriguez can handle a longer distance past a mile and 1/8 against Top Flight Company. Maybe not even 1 mile and 1/8. I know he won the Wood Memorial, but against kind of a dismal field and against better horses, he's going to be in kind of a trouble spot right now. So that's what I have right now for the Breeders' Cup. Races right now. Another race that you have to watch are the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. The only problem is it's 7/8 of a mile. By ways and means is on top of her game now again, like she was last year. Problem is, again, the Breeders' Cup is going to be at Del Mar. She didn't look like she liked that track. It was a contested speed in that race, and she kind of fell apart with the last half a furlong at the end of the race. I'm not making excuses. He ran as best as she could. I just don't think she likes the track. I honestly think that she may have top 4 right now, but like I said, horses run better certain months than other months. And right now, her better form is normally at the beginning of the year. It kind of taper off in later the year. I haven't seen the likes of Vava out there either. She was one of the predominant favorites in last year's Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint. So maybe I think they're better off at 6/8 and wanting to go 7/8 of a mile in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint. So those are the notes I have. I'm glad I'm back on YouTube land again. It's been a while. Just got to get some more notes, and once I have more notes, I can give you more information. And that's all I have for tonight. It's a late night right now. It's almost midnight Pacific Standard Time. So out on the East Coast, it's way early in the morning. So I will just sign off to you, and I should be back up and running now after my, as I say, my first YouTube off a layoff. I'm ready to get sink my teeth in some summer racing and pre-qualifiers for the Breeders' Cup races across the board. And all I could say is this is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, where winning and history run neck and neck. Have a good evening, folks.